Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching our station at the entrance to Main Street, USA, gateway to the 7 theme lands of the Magic Kingdom. As you approach the entrance, please keep your party together and have your tickets ready.
Broadcasting live from 38 Studios in Providence, this is the Go Ask Mickey podcast, helping you with the tips, tricks, and the tools needed to save you time and money on your next Disney vacation. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, send them to goaskmickey@gmail.com.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Monday, February 12th, 2018, and this is episode number 37 of the Go Ask Mickey podcast. My name is Jerry from goaskmickey.com, and joining me in the studio behind the controls today is the sublime Fast Eddie. That's a $2. That's an expensive word right there. Sublime. The sublime Fast Eddie. This week we have a lot of stuff going on. We have a lot of news that came out this past weekend. We're going to get to the little bits and pieces of it, but the main topic for this week is the ticket price increases that just came out, and we're going to talk about where the prices have increased, where they have stayed the same, what you need to know if you're planning a trip or are going on a trip this year, and where your savings is going to be and where you're going to be paying more, basically. So we're going to get into that a little bit later on. We're also going to get into the history and the backline of the price increases for Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So there's a lot of stuff coming up on this week's show. Stick around. First off, let's see what's going on this week around the world.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world tonight.
All right, we're going to hit it this week with what's going on this week in the news. We're going to start off with a couple of different little announcements. The minivans have expanded over to Pop Century. And just 2 weeks after expanding the minivan's amenities to provide service to Orlando International Airport, where I talked about that I believe it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, yeah. Disney has brought this on-demand transportation option to Disney's Pop Century Resort. Now, this minivan option has only been exclusively to the deluxe resorts. They expanded this out a little bit to the Orlando International Airport for, I think it was $150 one way. And now this is an interesting development, as this is the first value resort to offer the minivans as a transportation option. So I don't know if you're a fan of Pop Century. I've stayed there once before, and I fell in love with it. I think it's a great option. I think it's just a little bit better than the values, the All-Stars. I think it has a definite different feel to those than the All-Stars do. And I just think they're adding so much to this resort. They just did a refurb of all, they should be almost done with all the rooms. And they do look great. They have the hardwood floors, and they have that IKEA look, but if you like that stuff, then it works. So they have that going on. They added the Dole Whips. They added a Dole Whip station to this resort. The food court is not too bad. If you don't like the food court there, you just walk over to Art of Animation, which is across the bridge, and that's a great food court. So you got a great transportation options over there too, because Pop Century, I think, is the best, hands down, Disney bus transportation on property. So Pop Century and I think French Quarter do have the best services for buses as far as getting around the bus services. But I believe, and then now they're going to be adding the gondola station right in between the Art of Animation and Pop. So that's an added thing. So the only downfall of all this is probably that the prices are going to go up. So if you like Pop Century, it's a very small resort. It's easy to walk through. I mean, I can't give this resort any more thumbs up. They keep adding to it and then doing great things with this resort. I wish they would do a lot more to the All-Stars in this one. But maybe, over time they might be able to get to that. On to the next story, which is the Toy Story Midway Mania. It temporarily discontinued Fast Passes this spring. So because of the construction related to the opening Toy Story Land, the Toy Story Midway Mania has limited the capacity of the past several weeks, and in an effort to deal with the limited capacity, Fast Pass reservations will not be available from April 9th through April 7th of this year. So if you plan on going down and you're going to be down there, they're not going to be offering those Fast Passes, which is a big deal because it's hard to get on this ride without a Fast Pass. I mean, I would say to rope drop it. I remember I was there last year and we rope dropped in Hollywood Studios, and I think we rode Toy Story three times in a row in the first 45 minutes. So it was crazy the amount of time you save just by rope dropping it. So if that is your plan, if you're going in between those days, I would advise to probably rope drop Toy Story Mania and do your best to try to get in on that early. So the standby line will be the only option for the guests during that period. So good luck with that part. They also are offering new Magic Band colors that are coming out this month. Last month, Disney released the new Millennial Pink Magic Band color, and now 2 additional colors are going to be debuting. It's the navy and a cream color. The navy Magic Band will be available as part of the Peter Pan design, and the cream Magic Band is available exclusively as a part of a designer, what do they call that? That Dooney and Burke, and will sell for, get this, $48. So because they stuck a Dooney and Burke design label on there, whoop, that shot the price up to $48. So if that's what you'd like, then that option is there for you. Good luck with that. Also this week is the domestic attendance is up at Pandora, and the world of Avatar is breaking records throughout the parks. And Disney recently released its first quarter financial results, and the most important and interesting thing that we learned from this report was that the domestic attendance across Disneyland and Walt Disney World was up by 6%. So a lot more people are going, and they're crediting that to the growth due to Pandora. So the world of Avatar, we don't know yet how much attendance at, the Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World has gone up as a whole. But Bob Iger did say in a conference call that Pandora, the world of Avatar, has led to record attendance at Animal Kingdom, and which is definitely good news, for their pockets. For their park. What else we got? Well, let's see. Disney's Hollywood Studios is keeping its name. So a lot of people posted this past week about a letter that they received about a survey. It was a survey about the new Hollywood studio names. And back in 2015, Bob Iger confirmed something that he had rumored for quite a while, that Disney Hollywood Studios would be getting a new name sometime in the future. And the years since that announcement was made, Disney tested out several names via a survey, including Disney's Hollywood Adventure, I think it was one of them. The most recent is Disney's Cinemagine Park, which is absolutely god-awful. And seemingly confirming that they were continuing on with this idea, but perhaps conceding that they weren't sure exactly what sort of name they were going to be going with. So gladly, it's not going to be Cinemagine. That's Cinnabon Cinemagine Park. That's no good. However, it looks like Disney has changed their mind about renaming this park and confirmed this week that Disney has officially scrapped all plans to change the park's name, and they will be sticking with Hollywood Studios for the foreseeable future. So it can change, but for right now, I think we got, Hollywood Studios. I think it's nailed down. I think that's about it as far as, A Circle of Life. Environmental Fable is now closed permanently after more than 2 decades. Circle of Life, which has been at the Land Pavilion since 1995. It's been there a while. And it finally had its final showing on February 3rd. Though this space is eventually to be used for another attraction. In the short term of this theater will be taken over by Disney Performing Arts Group for performances and classes, primarily for visiting youth. So they're gonna give this place a purpose. It's not gonna go to the wayside, and then eventually they probably will change it over to a new attraction of some kind. As of right now, that's all we got. So I think that is it for the news this week, other than the ticket prices, and we're going to get into that on the other side of the break. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the ticket price hikes and the history of the hikes. the history of the price hikes in Walt Disney World and Disneyland. We'll be right back. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Stick around.
Jar Jar Binks' one-man show opened this weekend at the Lake Powonga Comedy Club. Here is WSWW entertainment guru Tarleton Mayhar to give you the skinny. Tarleton?
Thank you, Cram. Who would have thought Jar Jar Binks would return to the comedy scene? Not I.
How rude.
His one-man show is full of fun,
Bishop called Wazy.
laughs, and wacky antics.
He got. Excuse me.
It's got people saying, "We're gonna see it again and again."
Mr. Back.
Back to you, Cram.
And now for this prepaid commercial message.
You're listening to the Go Ask Mickey podcast.
Oh my God!
All right, we're going to talk a little bit of the history first of the Walt Disney World and Walt Disneyland and the ticket prices from the opening day to today. So I don't know if you remember the good old days when a family could afford to go to Disney theme park without worrying about the costs. And are you sure you remember that? In my recent investigation of Disneyland, the cost in 1955 relative to today, I showed that the admission prices are still in line with what they are on opening day more than 60 years ago. Yes, they have exceeded the pace of economic inflation. So has almost everything else, from cheeseburgers to cars to houses. Everything has been hit by economic inflation. Now that we know that's true of the happiest place on earth, let's move on to focus on Orlando, Florida in 1971. Now, the Florida project culminated in the debut of Walt Disney World. Although the most magical place on earth of that era was merely a fraction of what it's become. Only Magic Kingdom existed as a theme park, and the only 2 official hotels were the Poly and the Contemporary Resort. So that's what it was back then. Now it's so much more bigger. How much did guests pay back then? Is it more or less than theme park tourists pay to visit Disney World today? Now let's take an opportunity to compare the costs of opening day at the park to what they cost today. And we'll examine the value of a Disney vacation back then relative to a trip today. So we're going to go a little bit back and forth. So the first week of October in 1971, Gene Hackman, I don't know if you remember him, he became an action star in a TV show called The French Connection, which entered theaters 6 days after the Magic Kingdom opened its gates for the first time. Sorry, it was a movie. The number one song in the country was Imagine by John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band. John Lennon, I don't know, for the young folks listening, he was in a band called the Beatles. Very popular. He was a member, and he was really good. Soul Train, I don't know if people remember this, Soul Train would debut the day after Walt Disney World opened. And a person who was 21 on that day is likely retired, or at least approaching retirement today. Plain to say, it's just, that was like a lifetime ago. I wasn't even around. So, on October of 71, oh yeah, I was around. Wow. On October of 71, Roy Disney finally honored his brother's legacy when he introduced the public to Walt Disney World for the first time. The park's opening day was much more orderly than the Black Sunday debacle that had transpired at Disneyland in 1955. And what curious onlookers discovered when they reached Orlando was that they needed 2 tickets to enter the most magical place on Earth, presuming that they intended to make use of the accompanying transportation system. From its beginning, Disney World claimed a novel structure, and the bubble began once the tourists reached the hallowed grounds purchased by Uncle Walt himself. Anyone staying at the resorts sidestepped the issues of transportation, as well as an integral selling point for paying the upcharge of those more expensive hotels. Visitors who didn't start there had to buy a ticket at what we now call the Transportation and Ticket Center, the TTC for short. And they had to purchase a ticket that provided access to the monorail plus the trams, the ferry boats, and they already existed on day one at Walt Disney World. So I did not know that. The monorail was there, I knew that, but the trams and the ferry boats I was unaware of. And most guests sidestepped the issue by buying a package that included a single-day transportation access in addition to the side benefits, and we're going to go into that right now. Now, the opening day tickets, the general admission to the Magic Kingdom, okay, ready for this? Cost $3.50 for adults and $2.50 for juniors, okay? Kids aged 12 to 17, and $1 for anyone aged 3 to 11. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Children under 3 got in for free, and a system parents abused for decades. Now, what did a guest receive the cost of admission? The answer is access to the park, and that's all. In fact, they had to pay a quarter more to ride Disney's transportation. So, you had to pay a quarter to ride the monorail, basically. Otherwise, the only things that were available were taking in the sights at Magic Kingdom or watching any free show or performance from cast members. So basically, it was the equivalent of buying a ticket to a baseball game, but only get to stare at a wall for 3 hours. So there wasn't much that you got to do. You get to walk around, basically. The riding the various attractions at Walt Disney World required more money. So this is how they got you to pay that extra. Guests had to purchase packages that Disney called adventure ticket books. Think of them as like a fast pass, except that rather than letting a person skip the line, they enabled guests to get in the line. And the grading system of the Magic Kingdom employed at the time is the legendary, which a lot of people talk about, the E-ticket designation. Now, tame rides were called A tickets, and slightly better ones were B, and so forth, until guests reached the E ticket, and the best attractions available at the park during its opening year. So the E's were the best, the A's were the and everything in between. Those rides that have stood the test of time, such as the Haunted Mansion, Small World, and Jungle Cruise. To ride the best of the best at Magic Kingdom, guests would have to buy a package. Now, for $4.50 more than the regular admission, guests had the ability to enjoy 7 different park attractions, some of which were e-ticket levels. So notably, the discounts for kids were much less significant, which costs adults $4.50 was $4 for juniors and $3.50 for children under 12. So parents who wanted their kids to ride everything saw prices surge from the basic admission cost. So you're pretty much paying to get in and you're paying for your tickets to ride the rides. The most magical place on earth has come a long way since '71, and 4 gates now exist where once was only Magic Kingdom. As a publication, a single-day ticket to Walt Disney World costs between $97 and $114 for adults, and a children's ticket is always $6 less. Note that the categorization for children is simpler now. Anyone 10 or older is considered an adult, which is, I think, absolutely ridiculous. Anyone under 10 is a child. Anyone under 3 is still getting in for free, and yes, people still abuse this. The caveat is that adds complexity to the inflation calculation, that Magic Kingdom actually costs a few dollars more than the other 3 gates at Walt Disney World. So, also park hoppers is a possibility even for a one-day visit, and that costs $50 more. So there's a surprising revelation. We're going to pick a baseline number for a day at Magic Kingdom, and that number is 114. Since that's what it would cost to purchase admission today, for a child the cost is $108, $6 less. For the family of 5 mentioned above, the price of admission at Magic Kingdom today is $552. That's 2 adults at $114, 3 kids at $108. Now that we have the baselines, we can compare the era of '71 to today. Now, warning, I can already tell that this one isn't going to go as well as Disneyland did. So now $4.50 in 1971 is the equivalent of $26.83 today. So $20 in '71 is $119.22 now. Now, it can get confusing. In other words, even after we adjust for inflation, we could almost take an entire family of 5 to Magic Kingdom for what it cost for a single person today. Now, what's the explanation for why Disneyland hasn't seen a lot of ticket price inflations while Disney World has, is the simple one that on opening day, Walt Disney World offered much better than value. To wit, the calculations were evaluated, and the last piece revealed that a day at Disneyland cost $8.70, and adjusting that for inflation from 1955 to 1971. That's $13.15. You didn't hear that wrong. A 1955 visit to the happiest place on earth cost the equivalent of $13.15 in 1971. Meanwhile, on opening day at Magic Kingdom in '71, it only cost a guest $6.20 for the same number of attractions. It was less than half, and Disney simply didn't charge as much for their first Florida park. Now, I cannot for the life of me understand why. Looking at the data, they really lowballed those ticket costs in 1971. Maybe they were just trying to get people to go. I fully understand why they felt compelled to charge for the transportation. This is where they started to upcharge for the little things. Now, as a straight apples-to-apples comparison of Walt Disney World in 71 versus Walt Disney World today, the numbers are alarming. What cost $37 then is $114 today. That is an increase of more than triple. To a larger point, the stomach-turning inflation adjustment we see at Walt Disney World from 71 to today is more reflective of what a terrific value the park opened in 1971. If we swapped in that Disneyland number instead, it would have been an expense of $78.37. In current dollars, today's admission price during peak season of $114 exceeds the price of 1955 Disney Park admission by only 45%, which is less than 52% increase that Disneyland itself has seen in the last time frame. In other words, the cost of attending a Disney theme park today, as opposed to 55, is cheaper percent-wise at Walt Disney World than at Disneyland. To be clear, let's use the surge pricing option for Disneyland, which is $119, as opposed to Magic Kingdom, which is $114. Yes, it costs roughly 4.6 times as much to visit Walt Disney World today than in 1971. Even acknowledging that part of the explanation was the excellent opening day value back then, it's still a staggering number. So that is compared back and forth from 71 to today. Now, this past weekend, price hikes are here, and you're going to pay a lot more coming this year in 2018. Walt Disney World raises the price on things like souvenirs, events, and all foods throughout the year, and the resort is rather methodical with its ticket price increases. Now, every spring, prices for single and multi-day tickets go up, and effective today, it looks like prices for tickets have gone up yet again. Now, we're going to do a little price breakdown for a single day, non-park hopper tickets, effective immediately. Now, single day tickets go up across the board. Peak season, including spring break, much of the summer, and late December, ticket prices for adults will rise to $129 for the Magic Kingdom, up from $124 last year. And children's prices will increase to $123, up from $118. Now, prices for non-Magic Kingdom parks during this period have also risen to $122, up from last year's $119 for adults. Now, children's tickets have also risen to $116 from $113. Now, regular season, covering from early spring and fall, will rise from $119 to $115 at the Magic Kingdom. It is up to $114 from $107 for Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom for adults, and rising to $108 from $101 for children. So that is for the regular season. Now, the value days, which are late August and almost all of September, will now cost $109, and it's up from $99 for the Magic Kingdom for adults, and children's are now $103 during this period, up from $101. This isn't too bad. This is a small increase. I mean, it's almost $10 for adults, and I believe it's $2 for kids, which isn't bad, and that's rising from $97 during this period for adults. Children tickets, Magic Kingdom during this period are only Disney tickets now available for $100, now costing $96, up from $93. All right. Now, this is the big thing, where annual pass holders are going to actually be hurting this year because of the price increases that have gone up. We've done past shows of annual pass holders. We just did one, I believe it was like last week or 2 weeks ago. Check out the website to see which annual pass episode. I think it was 35 or 36. So in addition to the changes to the daily admission prices, the cost of every single type of Walt Disney World annual pass has gone up beginning today as well. Okay, so Florida residents gold passes without blockout dates during Christmas and spring break will cost $589, up from $559. That's pretty big. Platinum passes, which have no blackout dates and will now cost $729 for Florida residents, up a full $50 from last year's price of $679. Platinum passes for non-Florida residents will now cost $849, up $70 from last year. Wow, that's big. That's a huge jump. The highest tier of annual passes, the Platinum Plus Pass, that's a lot of P's, which includes 365 days of admission to the theme parks and water parks, now costs $829, up $60 from last year for Florida residents, and the non-Florida resident price for the pass is $949, up $80 from last year. That is the biggest price hike to date, $80 per year. These changes seem to be the most dramatic, and Disney's sweeping price hikes also hit multi-day tickets as well, but just not as bad. Not as bad as a single day, which will seem pretty big increases as well, but not, like I said, not as bad as the single day. The biggest price increase hikes this year seem to affect the annual pass holders, and the online prices for multi-day tickets are going up as well. We're going to take a look at that right now, which is the 2-day ticket. Adult tickets now cost $209 for a single park, $274 for a park hopper, up from $199 for a single park and $259 for the park hopper. Children's will cost $197, up from $187. So they have gone up $10, roughly $10. 3-day tickets, adults will now cost $305 for a single day, up from $289 for a single park. So that's a pretty good price hike, $20. And the kids now cost $287, up from $271. And a 4-day and a 5-day, and it goes on and on. Let me do a 5-day, which is now costs $395 for a single park, $455 with the park hopper. It was $350, so that's up $45. That's a pretty big. No, the 6. Let me see if I can get a 6-day. No, let me do 7. 7-day. Most people do 7-day tickets. Adults now cost $415, $490 for a park hopper, up from $410. So that's not bad. And $485 for a park hopper. So it's not too bad as far as children's tickets that now cost $395 for a single park and $470 for the park hopper. That's up $5. Now Disneyland Resort also has a price hike for tickets and annual passes as well, and those go from charges at the Walt Disney World. Disneyland Resort is getting effective immediately through single day, single park admission has not changed. Disneyland has raised prices for all of its annual pass options. So the South California Select is up $30, The Deluxe is up 90. The Signature is up 150. Signature Plus is up 100. And the Premier is up 140. Now, how do you feel about this? Is this going to stop you from going to any of the parks this year? I mean, Disney kind of knows that if it does these small increments of price hikes, it's not going to affect a lot of people coming to the parks. And being that it's been on the increase of 6% of seen a 6% in crowds this past year due to the Pandora or whatever Avatar, they have, increased the prices based off of that, knowing that people, it's probably going to deter a lot, some people, especially the annual passes. The annual passes have really increased a lot, and it's almost like they are penalizing people for having an annual pass. So I don't know. What do you think about this? I'm going to post this on my Facebook and the Twitter feeds, as well as you can check it out on the website at goasmickey.com. But how does this make you feel? Are you still going to go? I'm probably going to still go. It's definitely, it's not going to stop me from going, but it might stop some people, which could bring down the crowds just a little bit, because they've been getting really crowded lately. If you've looked at a lot of the wait times, they're still holding tough. Even in January and February, there's still a lot of wait times going on now, and it's a sign of the economy doing better and all that, but it's also a sign of what's to come when you do have Star Wars Land just on the horizon. Toy Story Land that should be opening soon this year, this summer, and what's that going to do to the crowds? So it's kind of like they're deterring some people from coming because they know where they're going to get some major crowds coming soon, real soon, because Toy Story, all these new attractions that they're offering, they're going to be building the next 2 years, are going to be huge influx of capacity in the crowds to Disney World. And are you going to be a part of that? I'm definitely, I'm all aboard. So let me know what you think about that. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with closing the show and any final comments. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Hello? My name is Marlin. I'm a clownfish.
A clownfish? Really?
Go on, tell us a joke.
Oh, I love jokes.
Well, I actually do know one that's pretty good. There was this mollusk, and he walks up to a sea cucumber. Normally they don't talk, sea cucumbers, but in a joke, everyone talks. So the sea mollusk says to the cucumber, Nemo!
Nemo! Nemo! I don't get it.
Well, a clownfish is not that funny.
All right, I think that's it. We're going to head out of here, and we'd like to thank you all for listening and downloading and being a part of this show. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, pictures, photos, stories, whatever, send them over to goaskmickey@gmail.com. And if you could, check us out on Facebook, over at Twitter. Give us a review over at iTunes, and check us out on the new Podbean. I think the Podbean, we're on there now. It looks pretty cool over there, so check us out over there. And until next time, Disney Nation, those are the words.
Head on over to goaskmickey.com or check us out on Facebook or leave us a review on iTunes.